I'm just fascinated by this topic, and I'm so happy that some of you are as well. I made a video called MyHeritage, Not Enough African DNA to be African American without it being racist. That was the video. And I enjoyed making that, and I'm enjoying seeing the comments. Here's the first comment. Sam Jones, quote, "Not an easy answer. According to 23andMe, I think that's where I read it, people under 14% were more likely to identify as white, and people over 14% were more likely to identify as black. When Sally Hemings, who was a quarter black, was freed from Thomas Jefferson, she identified as white on census forms and passed. Then she was just a quarter black. Her kids moved north and she did as well. Google a picture of Julian Fuego Thick, Robin Thicke's son, Alan Thicke's grandson. He's a quarter black. He's blonde and blue-eyed. Would he be identified as black? Probably not," end quote. So I think this is interesting. We'll never really get a firm answer and that we can get most people to agree on, but it's if we can at least kind of turn it into almost like a theory or a general consensus, then I feel like we're learning something together and we're celebrating ethnicity and diversity in the process, which is what this channel is all about. So I do think that's interesting. So what we're seeing, according to what he's saying on the 23andMe, that people self-identify as if they were under 14%, then they would self-identify as white. If they only had, say, 13% black African, then they would just go ahead and identify as white. But when it was more than that, when it was closer to a quarter, then they were more likely to identify as black. But as he's saying, people who are only a quarter African, to the rest of us, may not even be that obvious. And I think I mentioned the actress and model Rashida Jones. A lot of people don't realize that she's half black. Her dad is, you know, a famous music producer. But you look at her sister and you can tell her sister is African American. So okay, so here's what we've got so far. People tend to self-identify as white if they're less than 14% African. But if they're more than that, then they're more likely to self-identify as African, even though the perception is most people wouldn't necessarily see them as an African American. They maybe see them as slightly ethnic, and I'm saying that in quotations because that's how society tends to say it. So I'm enjoying this. Please keep the comments coming. I'm fascinated by this, especially because there's no true right or wrong answer. It's about our perception. Keep them coming. I like this.